Hey, gang, this is Carl White broadcasting from the communications room today here in the top secret headquarters, not just the secret headquarters, the top secret headquarters here at the Loan Officer Freedom Podcast, number one podcast in the world today for loan officers. And Joe Rogan, I am coming after you. There can only be one. So no, I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan. He's a fantastic interviewer, and I'm doing an interview today. So you're listening to the right episode today. If you want to hear about something that's converting 375% better than social media marketing, all the time and energy we spend on social media, which is a good place. I do it right. I'm not knocking social media, but what if there was a way? What if there was a method that gets you 375% more? When would you want to know about that? Right. So this is that episode. So I'm your co-pilot today, and the pilot in command of this 747 of coolness is Mr. Chris Johnstone himself. How you doing, my man?
I'm great, Carl. How you doing?
I'm feeling a little flavor, a little colorful today. Can you tell I'm feeling a little colorful? The
Well, that
747 of coolness, right? And you see, I'm just kind of throwing that stuff in. So good to see you, my man.
I'm blessed to be here, and it's great to see you too. And
Chris,
thank
we've known each other a long time, haven't we?
we have.
Yeah, I've learned so much from you. You have, you have a different skill set, and I'm saying this all sincerity. You have a different skill set than I do. So we have some of our skill sets overlap, and you definitely have one that I don't, right? Or I'm weak at it. Like it's not one of my strengths for sure, and that's understanding the more technical nature of the mortgage industry and utilizing some of the tools and whatnot. So I gave the tease. I gave the tease of something that converts, that brings in, according to a study of Next Gen Home Buyer, which is kind of a famous study these days, and it gave a source that closed at 375% more of the consumers found their loan officer with this one thing than they did all of social media. 375% more. And frankly, it absolutely shocked me when I saw this report. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. So I think we would all agree there's three ways to grow a mortgage business: past customers, referral partners, and then we've got this mystical third that you're referring to, and that is direct advertising or inbound calls from search engines, people searching for a loan officer. And if you think about it, it makes sense because people will ask people who they should be doing business with, people will ask their realtor who they should be doing business with, and people will ask Google or Alexa or whatever device they happen to have in their hand at the time that they're thinking about submitting their mortgage application. So I've kind of let the bag or the cat out of the bag here, but it is online search that is that third pillar of business in today's market.
It's a funny thing, and we've talked about this before, but it's a funny thing that, so dude, I've known you a long time, like a long time. And we've worked together a lot, and we've taken trips together and spoken at events together. We get invited to the same, circles kind of thing. So I trust you a lot, like a whole lot. And yet an interesting thing, if I asked you, let's say I'm getting ready to go to Charlotte,
Yep.
and there's a barbecue. I'm looking for a good barbecue place. And you say, "Oh, Carl, you got to go to Charlotte barbecue." And I go, "Awesome." The first thing I'm going to do, and I have no idea why, is I'm going to Google that barbecue place to get total strangers' opinions over the person that I know and love and trust. And it's just weird how that works. So the three sources of loans, people where people find their loan officer, is real estate agents, friends and family turning them on to, here's a guy that I use, here's the lady that I used, and search engine. Let's talk a little bit about why the search engine works. And again, we're not ditching social media, right?
No.
Social media works great. This just works according to the study. And I've seen the same thing in my own personal business. And we've certainly seen it in the conversion rates of how the Google search those leads convert way higher, way better than social media. So let's talk about that a little bit. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's because it's people searching at the end point where they actually want to speak to a loan officer. So social media, you're constantly on this hamster wheel of you have to produce content en masse regularly. It's all got to be good, and you have to put it out consistently so that that small portion of the people that are seeing your message, when they're ready to get a mortgage, maybe you're going to get those eyeballs and maybe you're going to be able to drive that person through your funnel. Mm-hmm. With Google and artificial intelligence and what artificial intelligence has done to search, what happens is Google has given search to artificial intelligence. I'm sorry, Carl, I'm going to nerd out for just a second.
That's okay, man. I'm ready for it. I got pencil and paper in hand.
So what Google has done is started to allow artificial intelligence to choose what the front page looks like and which businesses show up on the front page. And I've reverse engineered and looked at every major marketplace across North America and across other markets. And one thing that's very, very interesting is almost as soon as they made that change to AI, the advertisements disappeared off of the front page. So normally, or I should say the top of the front page, normally when you do a Google search, what's the first thing you see at the top?
Prepaid ads.
Prepaid ads.
Yeah.
And that was from the era of when engineers at Google were writing the algorithms to determine what the front page looked like, because they've all got stock options. They all want Google to make more money. Truly, the bias behind the front page of search was, how do we make Google as much money as possible?
Yeah.
Now, the way that artificial intelligence works is you give AI all of the data, everything that you can possibly give it, and then you give it the end result that you're looking for.
Okay.
And it goes from data to end result. And even still, the engineers don't really know what's happening in the middle. And I believe through all of my research that what Google has given the AI as the end result is get people the answer to their search with just one click. So when you go do a Google search for mortgage lender or loan officer in a local marketplace, AI has removed the advertisements because it looks at all the data and says, why am I showing ads? Nobody clicks on the ads anyway. Like 85, or I think the latest stat that I saw is somewhere between like 85 and 90% of the searches skip over the ads at the top and they click on the map placement. So AI was just like, oh, this makes sense. Get rid of all the ads and put the 3 businesses at the top. And so if you now go do a search, the ads are gone, the 3 businesses are at the top, and it's showcasing the ratings and reviews. Now, here's the really interesting thing. If you search mortgage lender, mortgage broker, loan officer, any intent-based search that Google looks at all the data and says, okay, these people are high intent, they want to talk to a loan officer, all this traffic that has searched these keywords before has ended up in either filling out an online form on a website or actually tapping on their mobile phone and calling a mortgage business. We're going to show the map at the top. So you can go do that Google search yourself. Then go and search for mortgage calculator. And you will notice that the map placement disappears. Now, mortgage calculator, based on search tools, is most often the highest trafficked keyword in the mortgage industry. But there's no purchase intent. Google has already looked at where the conversions actually come from and realized, okay, people that are online searching for a mortgage calculator, they could be 90 days, 120 days, 6 months away from actually making a purchase decision. But somebody who goes to Google and searches for a loan officer, they're going to read reviews and call right now. And that's why that 3-pack is showing up at the top. And that's the power of artificial intelligence in search. We have an end consumer who's not on social media just like casually browsing. They're actively looking for a loan officer. They want to talk right now. They already know what the rates are in today's marketplace. They still want to move forward. They may have already talked to a real estate agent, didn't like the referral that they've got. They're using Google as that person that they're asking to determine, okay, who's the best local lender? Who should I call? That's why I think they convert so much higher.
That's some interesting stuff there. And yes, I actually followed that. So I did not know that the paid ads weren't on Google still. Honestly, I hadn't noticed it because I do exactly what you said. I'll Google something and I'll immediately scroll past. I don't even look at the ads. I scroll past the ads and look to see what the first ones are. So, so, so when I'm capturing those Google searches via the AI that Google's already using, also, I know your program does also. Like we ought to retitle this. In fact, I might do this episode. AI is converting 375% more loans than social media,
That is
right?
why you name the
So,
podcast titles and I don't.
yeah. So by the way, because AI leads through the Google search for us are converting way more than just 375% better. So for us, and I would say the loan officer, I do a lot of studies. And so the loan officer studies that I've seen, which is over a lot of loan officers, because of the training that we do, we're involved with a lot of loan officers, that social media leads typically convert between 0 to probably 2% is probably about the highest I've ever seen. I think the benchmark is like 1%. Like somebody in our Freedom Club group the other day was asking, "Hey, I'm at 1.3% on social media leads. What do I need to do?" And it's like, man, that's pretty. That's kind of it. That's like a NASCAR car going 200 miles an hour. That's about what they do. Like you might get 201, 202. He might get 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, but that's pretty much redlining that. On the AI, what we're seeing, not just in our own group, but our own branch, but in other loan officers that's in the Freedom Club, is 15, 17%. So if you're going from 1% to like 15, 17%, that's a 1,500% increase over that, right? So that's a really, really, really big number. And just to put it in comparison, a referred lead from a real estate agent is like at 25%.
Yeah.
So you get, when you're at 15, 17%, you're knocking on the door of a referred lead quality lead. Like this is like, it's impressive. I remember the first time I saw that, I was blown away.
Yeah.
And so, but it makes sense to me. And I've talked about this for Chris here on the podcast. And we do Facebook ads, like we do social media. So again, I'm not knocking it. You just have to understand that if you're running that, expect about a 1%, right? Which is okay, right? It's okay. And if you're working on the referred, about 25%. On the Google, not that far, about 15, 17%, something like that. But it makes sense to me because, like, if I'm on Facebook, and we might have talked about this last time, if I'm on Facebook, I'm on there, hey, where's Chris at? And I know you go down to Costa Rica, with your family sometimes. And I go, hey, is he in Costa Rica? And, what's my kid doing? And, my buddy from high school, what's he up to? And the Harley motorcycles group, what are they, what rides are they going on this weekend? And then when I see an ad pop up, hey, you want to get a mortgage? Nope. No. I want to see what the group, if it is a group going riding this weekend, right? Whereas on Google, if I'm on Google Googling, tell me about I'm getting ready to get a mortgage in Kansas, and then an ad pops up of, hey, would you like to know, mortgage rates in Kansas? Well, that's exactly what I'm searching for.
Yep.
So if I'm searching for a boat, and then boat at, hey, would you be interested in looking at this boat? Yes, I would, because I'm Googling for boats. I've got my boat hat on. I got my mortgage hat on. I've got my insert in hat on. And I think that's why they convert so much higher, is because when Google suggests it, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's where my head is right now. I'm not having to do what's called disruptive marketing, where I'm at a rock concert enjoying it, and then somebody says, hey, would you like to buy a golf cart? No, get out, you're in my way, sit down, I'm watching the show. And so I think that's why they convert so much higher, is that's the hat we have on at that moment, and it's just a higher converting thing here. Talk to us a little bit about how you use the like if I'm a loan officer, how I can use this AI and these searches. How can I use those for my benefit? Like, how does that work?
For sure. So go do a Google search in your local marketplace and just type in mortgage lender or area name mortgage lender. And while you're doing the search, pay attention to what shows up in the search bar while you're searching. So you can do this on your mobile phone. It's better if you do it on desktop. You go do a search for loan officer in your area name. And what you will see is related searches that show up while you're doing your search. What Google is giving you is, based on search volume in your local marketplace, the top searches that happen in your local marketplace. So you can start that search, and all of those searches that fill in underneath that, well, you can take a screenshot of that, and now you've got ideas for blog articles that you can create on your blog, videos that you can shoot for your blog, which you can transcribe with AI, which we'll talk about in just a second. But that literally tells you, okay, in your marketplace, what are people searching for on Google in your marketplace, and what are great topics for you to be able to go get more customers on? But once you do that Google search, I want you to scroll a little bit further past the map. And keep in mind, every local marketplace is different. Every individual user is different. And I'll drop a little tool here for you. It's called Local Falcon. Falcon like the bird. Okay. So go to localfalcon.com, and it's a paid tool, but they have a free thing. Go on there, put your business name into the search. It'll pull up your Google business profile, select your Google business profile, and then it'll say, what keyword do you want to check? Type in mortgage lender, or if you're a broker, type in mortgage broker and hit search. What it does is it goes in with an incognito browser and does a search in your local marketplace, and it will show you truly where you show up in the rankings for that search phrase. And then it gives you, like, it shows you red dots, you're off page to yellow dots and green dots. Most loan officers sit in their office, type mortgage lender into Google for the 50th time after being on their website, and they're like, oh, I rank on Google. Why am I not getting any phone calls? Well, it's because you're sitting in the office location on your computer that's been to your website. So Google is re-showing you your content and your information. So we talk to so many people on these free consultations that we do that think that they're ranking on Google, like really big top producers, and they can't figure out why the phone isn't ringing. And it's because even if you use an incognito window, you're not actually seeing the actual search results of what somebody searching a mortgage lender on Google for the first time is. So go use that Local Falcon tool, and you can see what you're actually showing up for. Then what you want to do is actually find out what the most frequently asked questions are in your local marketplace, because that's how you rank in the 3-pack now that AI has taken over. So you do the search for mortgage broker or mortgage lender at the top, you see the map, and then you're going to scroll down. And somewhere in that next section of that really valuable real estate that's on the front page of Google, there's going to be a little section that says people also ask, or other questions, or they keep changing the name of it, but you'll see it. There's these questions that show up on Google. Well, those are the questions that are actually being asked by people in your local marketplace, either before they search mortgage broker or lender, or after they search for mortgage lender. What is that? Well, that's the actual questions that the AI wants answers to. So the other thing you'll notice is that most recently, Google, in your Google business profile, if you open that up, there's a Q&A section. So what you do is you get a friend, family member, potentially a Google account that you've set up while on a different computer than the one that you're currently using. You want to take the top 1, 2, 3, 4 questions that Google is getting from people in your local marketplace. You ask those as questions on your Google profile. Then head on over to ChatGPT, get the answer to the question using AI, and use that to respond to the Q&A. So if you want to build yourself as an authority with Google, wouldn't it be nice to see all of the top search phrases, all of the questions that are happening on those top search phrases, and you being the only mortgage lender who has the answers to those questions on your Google Business profile, but also on your blog, on your YouTube channel, on all of the different places where you post content. That's a phenomenal way to build authority with your content so you rank higher in the 3-pack.
Wow. So once I do that, like how often do I need to do that?
Right now, when we're doing it for our clients, we do it once a week. And we mix it up so it's not Q&A every week, because the way that AI is working is they want a lot of information on products. So let's say you're in an area that has jumbo mortgages, or you're focused on reverse, or whatever it is. You creating blog content using ChatGPT, okay, and posting that on your website, posting it on your Google Business page, that builds authority in that topic. And so you can start ranking on those keywords. Your location is also very important. You should be using ChatGPT to produce content about the different areas that are around your location. You can talk about the top restaurants, the festivals that are happening, even just like local landmarks in your area. Link out to things like Wikipedia and just post content about your location on your blog and on your Google Business profile. Because the AI is smart enough to know who's an authority in the location, who's the authority on the product, and who's the authority on the front page of Google for the search results. If you can nail those 3 things and do that once a week, based on what we've seen, and Carl, you and I did an episode about 200 days ago where we brought some people in on a beta program. And that's what we've been doing for those people. And we threw a lot at the wall, like a lot. But those 3 things, along with good fundamental SEO, so the coding nerdy stuff of like on the website, proper Google business structure, all that stuff, you can Google that stuff and do it on your own. But those fundamentals plus what I've given you here is the thing that's really moving the needle. The only thing we really haven't discussed on top of that is getting 5-star ratings and reviews from customers. And we all know how important that is already.
Yeah. So is this a thing, like when you guys do it, is this a thing that you do to my website, or do you have like a website provider that we do that? Like walk that out for me.
So we work with the existing website that everybody has. It's rare that we will come back and be like, hey, we can't work with this. Most of the major brands have gotten their SEO to at least a baseline point where it indexes properly on Google and we have what we need. Because we're so far ahead with the AI stuff, we can make up for not a perfect website on the other side with content and some of the other stuff. So 9 times out of 10, we're working with the website that the client has. Where it's really important is for the client to allow us access to their Google business profile so we can structure that properly, allow us to do content, and allow us to reach out to their past clients in order to build the 5-star ratings and reviews.
Yeah. So you ran a beta test. Any reports on how it's going?
Yes. If you give me just one moment, I'll pull it up. And while I'm doing that, I got to say thank you, Carl, because you and I both spoke at the NAM conference. I think that was last week.
So all right, okay. So wait a second. So let me kind of do a little preface here. So Chris and I, Valerie Sanders is a very kind lady who's the president-elect over at NAMB, and they had their year conference in Las Vegas, which is outstanding. And Valerie's just one of my favorite people. I was going to say in the mortgage business, but it goes beyond that. Like just a wonderful person. So anyway, so she was kind enough to invite us, and so we went there, and man, it was a great thing. But dude, I walked into your session, dude. It was standing room only. It was like, all right, he's not that good looking. It's got to be the topic, right? It's got to be the topic. And this AI stuff is very, very interesting. It's very interesting. And and sometimes, sometimes I prefer a horse and buggy,
Mm.
But I'm going to tell you right now, this is not the horse and buggy time. It's not. This is one of those. This is a technology. It's kind of like you know, it's kind of like the internet. When the
Right.
internet first came in the lending, I went, gosh, boy, it's such a distraction. We have to learn all that. Do we have to do it? Can we stick to the old way? And the answer was very clear. No, you can't. You're going, well, you can. It's just not going to work out real well for you.
Yeah.
And this AI, you can either have it working for you or it's going to be working against you. And you don't want to working against you. I can tell you that right now. So it's some very interesting stuff. So anyway, I went off on a little. I was impressed on the crowd that you had in your in your room. Was it was impressive.
Well, I think it certainly, uh, well, I was speaking in the small room and you were in the big room. So we've got that first. And, but I
Right.
think I have the benefit of, I've got the sassy topic,
Yeah.
but you and I are like, I will always come back and tell people, like, if you're not doing the daily success plan, if you're not reaching out to your database, if you're not making your calls to your referral partners, if you're not reaching out to the people that have sent you business before, like, boy, do you have low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But in today's world, there are AI based tools that can help you do that
Yeah.
faster, better, at scale. And you
Yeah.
just become an AI empowered loan officer that's doing the fundamentals, but doing better at scale.
You know what it
And
is? You
outside
know what it is,
locations.
Chris? I just got a visual image. I think in pictures, and I just
Hmm.
got a visual image. It's like we're going from Florida to California,
Hmm.
and we can either walk or we can get on a jet. And if you're getting on the jet, you're still flying it, right? But you're using the technology of an airplane.
Yeah,
And so the AI, you're not turning it over. You're still flying it, but you're using the technology of the AI to get there. Instead of getting there in 6 months walking, you get there in 6 hours on a jet. That's kind of what this is, I think, is you're still in control of the plane. You're still at the helm, but you're just using the technology of the jet to get you there so much faster. And walking will work. It just take you longer.
that's right.
It just take you longer.
And we've got some cool stuff coming out in the future on the database marketing side of stuff, but that's another topic for another conversation. But
Yeah.
that is a good segue to what we're doing on search, because I truly believe we are first in working with AI to rank on the 3-pack. And so our first gentleman who signed up, his name was Daniel, and
Okay.
he had 0 rankings on the 3-pack. He now has
Wait,
30.
when you say 3-pack, just real quick, tell me what that
Thank
is
you.
again.
So the map. So when you do that search for mortgage lender,
Yes.
the 3 businesses that show up in the map placement at the very top of search with the
Okay.
ratings and reviews that show up there.
Okay.
So started with 0. He's been on the program 204 days. He now has 30 different keywords, all in the number 1 position on Google. He started with 7 5-star ratings and reviews on his profile, which is a good start. He's now up to 57 5-star ratings and reviews on his profile. And I don't want to turn this into like a thing, but but I would like to say this. So Memphis, Denver, Mount Juliet, some major marketplaces in Texas. We've had people trust us with their rankings in some really competitive marketplaces. And it has solidified with me that what we're doing with AI really moves the needle. What we believed that we could do with my original test, because I started with no website, no Google business profile in my hometown, and I was ranked number 1 in less than 90 days. I've been able to replicate that now out of the original 15 that we brought in on the case study. We have 13 people that have more than 10 keywords ranked on the front page of Google as a result of what we've done. So to me, now I know it works and we can scale, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And again, I think, the key point in all this stuff is we're finding that these, it's not just that it's not just that it's ranking, is it's providing leads that at least in our case, seem to be closing at between 15 and 17%. So it's one thing to rank; it's another thing to make sure that ranking turns into dollars. And I have to say, man, it's impressive. It is. It's impressive. It's changed the way that we do a lot of things. I mean, I just total transparency. We're putting a little bit less into the social media, even though I have to tell you, just being honest, Chris, I think the social media is more fun. But you know what? So is going for a horseback ride. It just doesn't close me loans.
Yeah.
And I've come to find out that the social media adds spice in my life that's fun,
Yeah.
like going to Disney. I just don't get loans at Disney, right? So it's
Mhm.
okay to have spicy things in my life and fun things. Uh, but honestly, I think social media has just really turned more into a little bit of an entertainment for me more than a business tool. Originally it was a business tool, and I think it's transitioned that the conversion rates are so low, and the conversion rates on the Google search is so high. Um, yeah, it's made Facebook more of a toy than a business tool. It's a good toy. It's a fun toy. I enjoy that toy, but I mean, it just is what it is. And I don't think it was always a toy. I think it used to work, and I honestly think it's not working like it did at one point. You agree with that?
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think in having a lot of experience with driving leads from ads specifically on those platforms, the funnel has become so important. And I do like, the conversion ratio. I think a big reason why that number is so high is because when you get a phone call from Google, you're getting a phone call from
Mm,
somebody who's read your ratings and reviews, picked you off of the
mm,
front page. The other two lenders may not have picked up the phone. You picked up the phone and you're on a conversation with them. When you generate a lead from social media, you then it's the same as Zillow. It's the same as any type of lead that you have to chase. And all of
mm,
a sudden, like you'll only ever have a conversation with statistically like conversion rates inside our CRM are 50% on the campaigns that are really, really well. And then of those people that you actually have a conversation with, it might be half of them. So you have 100 leads, you only have 25 conversations. On Google, it's like every single one of them is a conversation.
because they're calling you.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's just that subtle
You know what?
difference.
That's a great point, because like I never thought about that until this very moment. When I'm doing a search on Google, which I did just this morning, right? So I'm looking to buy a new toy, right? So it's a bicycle toy. And
Okay.
so I was on Google when the search came up. I didn't email that company. I called them.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, do you guys have, insert anything that I'm looking for?" And so it wasn't and I didn't go then search them on LinkedIn or Instagram. I called them. I picked up the phone and I called them. So it was a much stronger lead than, you know what, it's more of a commitment on the consumer, because it's a phone call rather than just some message of some sort, and I guess some do email, but it's primarily inbound phone calls.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good stuff, man. Hey, so I don't know what like if somebody's interested in this and say, "Hey, I'd like to hear more about this," or "How can you guys help us?" or I'd like to just take a peek inside and say, "How do I get these leads coming in, these search leads for me?" Like, where do we go from here?
Yes. So we're happy to get on the phone with everybody and kind of reverse engineer your market and give you tips on how you can actually move forward with AI. So I've got a link here. It's toploai.com. So toploai.com. We only work with 2 clients per market. Simply being, there's only 3 spots on the map placement. We can't take all 3. So when we only work with 2 people per market,
And that's not a
so
takeaway, because it's just like, dude, you're either one or you got to, that you can't have 20 people being the top one, two, three, right? It's
exactly.
impossible, right? Anybody is selling it to 20 people, it's not real, because there's literally 3 spots allowed by Google.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we are happy to guide you if the marketplace is full. Still happy to help. I didn't want anybody to book it and then all of a sudden they hear that afterwards and there's like a bad experience or like it's weird or whatever. I just
Yeah.
wanted people to know that up front.
Yeah. So I go to toploai.com. What happens next? Like, what do I do?
There'll be a calendar link there and you
Okay.
can book a time that works for you.
Okay.
And it will either be myself or one of my team members that will
Okay.
get on and show you where you're at in your marketplace. So the local Falcon report, what does that look like? What is your website? Really, truly, if you want to take advantage of this on your own, what are you going to need to do to get from where you are to where you want to be? Because we'll also show you what your competition is doing in your market and show you, okay, here's your roadmap. Is this attainable for you? And actually map out with you the marketing plan so that you know whether or not this is an attainable strategy for you. And we will also remind you that you should be following the daily success plan, calling your past customer database, making your calls to your qualified list. This is the third leg of the stool. So we're also going to remind you about the fundamentals as well.
Yeah. I find it interesting. I like this, where if I do a search of myself, of course my stuff comes up because Google knows, oh, Carl, you're searching about you. So of course they're going to show me about me. Right. So, I mean, that's just where if we're sitting side by side at a coffee shop and I do a search of me and Chris, you do a search of me, we're going to get totally different responses.
Yep.
And so it's good to know like what other people are seeing for sure. So real good. So toploai.com. All right, Chris, I think we pretty much covered it there. Is something I should have asked you today that I didn't ask you? Did we cover it okay?
No, we covered it just great. I mean, we got spicy, we got barbecue, we got all the major topics.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for dinner. Carl, thank you so much for having me on the show, and everybody that's listening, thank you for listening. And I hope that this information serves you and helps to make your life better.
Dude, I'm so glad the beta test is going well. So great responses from there. So good stuff, man. Yeah, this a lot of people are asking, wait, I hear all about this AI and I get it. It'll write emails for me, right? It'll do, like, what do I do with AI? I know it's something powerful. It's like handing a cell phone to a caveman right now, right? I know I got something here. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And using it for these Google searches, very, very, very clever idea because it's working on an area that, again, high conversion rate. So very interesting. So toploai.com. You will do yourself well to get some more information about this and see what you might be missing out on. You're going to want to be on the front end of this stuff. I'm just telling you that right now. So good stuff. Chris, you're awesome. I appreciate you, buddy. You're just amazing. I love working with you and I love what you bring to our community. So thanks for being here, my man.
Awesome. Thank you, Carl. And thanks for listening.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, thanks so much for all the reviews that you guys give us. And I got I really appreciate you being part of our community here. Thanks so much for forwarding this episode to your loan officer friends. We appreciate that. And Chris will talk to you when you call in, toploai.com, toploai.com. And we'll also see you here on the next episode of Loan Officer Freedom. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.